So I'm going to take you through a way to look at the world through the different generations. I think it's a fascinating way to see the world. So there are 4 generations you heard it talked a little bit about, just mentioned. 4 generations in the workplace today. There's a 5th generation that's very young. They will be here very soon. They're on their way. And as we look at these generations, I want you to think about your world where you work. Think about your family. Yeah. Think about not only where you work, but the people you work with, how they're seeing you. And think about those patients that come in and how they see you. Now, we've talked a lot about that, but let's look a little bit about just some premises. We all know that people tend to do what? They tend to offer opportunities and want to work with people they like. Isn't it easier just to work with people you like? Makes it easier for me, I know that, right? But we also know that people tend to prefer to work with people they think are like themselves. The greatest generation, those matures. There they are. One of the best generations. They certainly saved this world from a lot of evil things. And they had pretty good music, I think. Yeah. So 5 years ago, what were all those matures doing? Same thing they're doing today, because they were already retired. They're the only generation that kind of sidestepped that economic unpleasantness that we've been going through for a few years here. They kind of sidestepped it. They work if they want to. It's their choice. And they're amazingly good customer service because they really understand what customer service is about. Well, you know them. You have seen these matures in your life, and maybe they're an aunt or somebody you work with, or maybe they're your mother, but you've seen them like at a holiday gathering or something, and you know what's happening in the kitchen after everything's done and the dishes are being, they're in there, and anything that's any kind of aluminum foil that's not dripped on, what's happening? Yeah, you just cut it off and fold it up and put it back in a drawer. Why are you doing that, Mom? Why? Well, why not? Why would you waste it? Right? They take Ziploc bags and they wash them out and they hang them out over the sink. I'm like, what are you doing that for? Well, walk into a garage of any male from this generation, and everything that ever broke in the house is taken apart and put in little jars, all separated out at the workplace. And you go, man, that's wild. Why are you doing that? And they'll look at you and they'll go, you just never know. Now, I don't know if you know this or not, but in 1966, Time magazine named the entire generation of baby boomers Man of the Year. And I've been thinking about that. And I think that it's okay to use that on your resume if you're a baby boomer. It's factual. I'm a baby boomer. Time named them Man of the Year. Why are they called the baby boomers? When those soldiers came home from the war, there was an immediate boom. Right? So these baby boomers, what had to happen? Hospitals started being built, schools had to be built all over the country, roads had to be paved, and if you think there's a coincidence between Disneyland opening up in 1955 and the middle of the baby boomers, it's right on track. You had to do something with all those kids now to keep them entertained, right? Let's talk about Gen X now. This is a group. They're a small generation stuck between two very large. They're getting pushed on one side by millennials that are pushing into the job market. They're looking for opportunities. And on the other side, they're getting squeezed back by baby boomers who won't leave and take retirement. But the characteristics of these groups, Gen Xers, you have to understand, Gen Xers were the first generation. They were latchkey kids. They would come home with that key around their neck because mom and dad had to go to work, right? And they got home early. They're very self-sufficient. They opened that door. They found that key that's in that fake rock that nobody knew where you hit it. Yeah, and they went in, and what they do, they set up, they got them something to eat, they got a snack, they did their homework, they watched some TV, and they were there when the internet and the home computer came in. They are the pioneers of home computers. They are very comfortable working on. They love email. They love email. Now, let's talk about these millennials. Here they are. Millennials. Everywhere. This is a group that expects frequent contact with a supervisor. They are the person that you hire, and on their first day, after their 8 hours exactly, 7 hours and 59 minutes come by to tell you goodbye. I've had a good day. and I've got about 6 new ideas for this group that will make us all better. Yeah, they got ideas. They love state-of-the-art technology. They love their phone, but they hate to talk on them. Yeah. This is a group that wants somebody to guide them. They've had it their whole life. Clearly defined goals and somebody I can go to for feedback on how I'm doing each day. They want to be challenged, and they want frequent training. You see, this is not they did not become a new species. Millennials just have had to adapt to their environment, and technology is part of the environment. I don't know if you know this, though, but millennials got so many participation trophies when they were growing up that a recent survey says that over 40% believe they should be promoted and given a raise every 2 years, no matter what their performance is. Some companies have embraced it. Enterprise Rent-A-Car, everybody gets something a couple times a year, so you can write to all your friends and put it on Facebook or wherever you want a picture of you getting a trophy or something from Snapchat. You can do all that, right? And tell mom and dad things are going great. So they just added about 16 more layers, so everybody gets something and a name change and a new business card. You know, there are more millennials in the world today, in the United States today, between the ages of 18 and 30 living with their parents than live with a spouse. Millennials on an average day send 98 texts a day. They send so many texts. There's a thing called phantom phone vibration syndrome. Because, you know, they're going to check their phone on minimum every 15 minutes. So we've been going now for what, about 35 minutes or so, and they've checked twice to see if somebody's more important. And Tim's, what he's saying up there that I can do. Now, as I close, I want to tell you about this younger generation. Yeah. You know who they are. But you have to think about the lens they look through when they see the world. Because this is a generation that even if they are older, maybe they're 15 or 16, 14, 15 or 16, they may have been alive during 9/11, but they really have no memory of it. But what they do know is they're having to live with all the effects of it. The security that's been put in place, the lack of of hiding your personal information, of an intrusive government. They see that. That's what they're growing up in. This is a generation that the United States has been at war their entire life. They don't know any different. This is a generation that the economy in our country has been struggling their entire life. They don't remember the great roaring 90s. All they know is what we're going through now.